as we've moved through and started to really focus on other parts of the project and understanding, our system as a whole, it's been, we've had quite a few pleasant surprises in areas that we didn't even expect.
Well, hello there, my friends. Chris Marcus here with you for Arcadia Economics and a quick video today because we had some news out this morning from Silver Viper as they got results from their geophysical and geochemical survey at La Virginia. And fortunately, to dig through the results and everything that's going on, I am joined by Steve Cope, who runs Silver Viper. So, Steve, great to have you on the show, and congratulations on the news this morning. And hopefully, you could walk through the developments and what you came back with.
Yeah, Chris, it's always nice to be on the show. And yeah, we're excited. This is the other part of exploration. Drilling is, where you get your big dramatic, price runs, but a bunch of it and getting vectored in before we can make those discoveries is doing the work that we're summarizing here, the geophysical work, the geochemical work. And as we've moved through and started to really focus on other parts of the project and understanding, our system as a whole, it's been, we've had quite a few pleasant surprises in areas that we didn't even expect to necessarily run with the grades that they are. Seeing 17.8 grams gold and 1,000 grams silver in chip samples and dump samples in that Oriental areas. That was an area that we thought was west of our main zone, so that's showing the potential for another trend to the west of the main structures that are running very attractive grades. Going over to the Macho Libre area, just a little bit to the east of that, and that's a 2 kilometer long zone that's sitting in the same trend that moves its way up to our El Rubi discovery and deposit. So, that's produced some pretty nice numbers. The El Molino South area, which you can see over kind of in the middle on the eastern side of that map, again, that has produced some nice chip sampling, and that's where we're really seeing a lot of understanding the structures and these breccia structures, which are what produce our highest grades at El Rubi, and they're sitting them in sequence in parallel there. That has made that probably our number one exploration target so far. Peridona's moving up, and the same trend there is interesting and had some nice numbers. It's and this is one small portion of our total land package. You go further to the south and you get into where Pan American and Minefinders made their discoveries at Las Guadas and Virginia, and this project has so many different mineralizing events and activities in it. We made our discovery at El Rubi, but we've always said it would be foolish to think that's the only discovery we're going to make on this project. You go further north, you've got the Ruby North prospect at the end of the plateau that Ruby sits on, and then you see, as you sample, that the structure continues off of the plateau and continues to move north, and it'll go all the way up to the Lagoria prospect, which is off this map, which is a 3 kilometer by 3 kilometer massive porphyry target that at some point someone's going to punch some deep holes into and test. It's just, there's a lot of different mineralizing events and activity going on in this project. You have all these trends that are moving north south or a bit to the northwest, and you see them in sequence, and it's just, and when you start drilling them like we do at a Ruby and you see multiple phases of mineralization in our drilling, it's a very active area that has seen a lot of mineralization, and now it's just vectoring in on where you are going to hit the best widths and grades that become economic for mining. But I fully expect to make new discoveries on the project this year, and this work has allowed us to really vector in on where our best chances are to make those new discoveries.
Yeah, and along the lines of what you just mentioned there, sounds like you now have a better idea of exactly where to drill and where you'll be targeting. And is that the plan going forward later this year?
Yeah, I mean, we'll definitely have, our plan is to upsize and add rigs to the project and have multiple rigs turning on the project. And one of those rigs, which will be the smaller man portable rig, will definitely be going around and regional testing a number of these targets, similar to the way we did when we made our discovery at El Rubi. But we also, the work and what's been shown in this is that we're certainly not done at El Rubi, and it's got a lot of potential to expand at depth and along strike, both to the north and the south. We've already, from the last resource, expanded Ruby 200 or 300 meters to the south down to the bottom of that arroyo. The geophysics has showed, where the mineralization seems to be trending in El Rubi to the north, and we haven't cut it off there either. So I would see the open pit portion of the resource growing as we move forward through this year, and the drilling that'll be done there, which is where the bulk of our drilling will be done, is on that El Rubi area. But that, like I say, we'll have at least 1 or 2 rigs going around doing some scout drilling and getting these other targets ready. And when we make a new discovery, we'll, same as we did with Ruby, we'll start delineating them, stepping out, 50 meters at a time, and start quickly defining resources on those areas of the project as well.
Yeah, and in addition to that, perhaps you could also update. You did have a deal late last year where you entered into a letter of interest with Canisil Resources. So you have some sites over there as well. And I know you had an extension of that letter, and perhaps just an update on how things are going there as you're moving towards the proposed closing.
Yeah, I mean, we've just continued to doing, it's all due diligence based and making sure we're getting all the info and understanding everything, that exists within Canisil before we make the decision to move forward on the project. And it's, we've been getting that information, and our team's really been organizing the data and getting it into a usable form. And so, we're very impressed with those projects. We continue to evaluate them, make sure, the ownership levels, and make sure the claims are all in good standing, and that's what's, ongoing. But you're getting six, attractive projects in Mexico, in the heart of the silver belt of Mexico, in Durango and Zacatecas states, by some of the largest silver mines in the state. And then you get a package of four assets up here in British Columbia and Canada as well, that are more porphyry targets, but again, in an area that's a hotbed for mineral exploration. And when we go ahead with that deal, we'll be looking at all sorts of different options of ways that we can add value for shareholders by, optioning or joint venturing some of those projects out. We might spin, the Canadian assets into a new company in a good market, and that'll be a free dividend to shareholders. And just, we're going to do whatever we can with that transaction to make sure that, our shareholders gain a lot of value, and we see the potential ton of value for what we're paying for Canisil and on that project.
Well, it's exciting that you've had a lot going on recently, and certainly a positive start to 2023. So, Steve, just before we wrap up, could you let folks know the best way to contact you if they have questions, would like to go through any of the recent announcements and find out more information?
Yeah, all the information's on silverviperminerals.com. You can reach out via email, info@silverviperminerals.com. That comes to both Alicia and myself. And then you can see the phone number there on the website, 604-687-8566. And that is a list to all of our, direct lines if you want to call and just chat and talk about silver, or talk about the company or the project. So we're more than happy to jump on the phone and discuss those things.
Well, Steve, sure appreciate that. Good to catch up with you as always. Congratulations on the news, and we'll look forward to checking back in again soon.
Thanks, Chris. Always a pleasure.